Hey everyone, it's Jack here, TalkNorwichCity. Welcome back to another video. We must start by saying a Merry Christmas to everyone watching. This is probably going to be the last video before Christmas, and possibly one of the last as we head into 2023. I'd just like to say, if I don't get another chance, thank you for all of your wonderful support throughout 2022. It's been a turbulent one for Norwich City on the pitch, but I hope that we've been able to provide content that you've enjoyed. There's been some brilliant podcasts recently with Kenny McLean and Mark and Mike Atanasio. If you haven't watched those, then I would recommend them. I think they're well worth a view. Also, a big thank you to BetMate, who have been sponsoring and will continue to sponsor our preview videos throughout this season. They're running a special Christmas code for you over the next 3 games. If you sign up and enter the code TNC10, you'll be given a £10 free bet once you play a paid pot. We've got a paid pot for the Luton game. It is £2 entry with a guaranteed £100 payout. You can see Chris and I's teams on screen now. I'm sure you all know what BetMate is at this point, but if you don't, it is a fantasy football type app that you can play against your friends, fellow TNC viewers. And the thing I love about it is you get points for things like tackles, interceptions, things like that. So even if players are on losing teams, don't get an assist or a clean sheet or a goal, they can still be really important players. So well worth digging through all of the previous stats on there and trying to pick a decent 7-a-side team for this week's game against Luton. We find ourselves in a sticky situation, don't we, at Norwich City at the moment, and sadly the conversation still surrounds Dean Smith. Some of his comments in his press conference this week were curious, to say the least. I think some expected him to maybe soften the blow of him blaming the fans and saying that they were kind of waiting for Norwich City to lose a game. Instead, he just doubled down on it and said that he regretted none of it. Part of me enjoys this kind of needle from Dean Smith and the fact that he's kind of fighting back a little bit. I think football needs, a little bit of anger and aggression. I don't think it helps that he's clearly just burning bridges that are already burnt to embers on the floor at the moment. He basically said that he had no regrets at all surrounding his comments on the fans. He said, didn't he, that he's glad that the next game is away from home because he basically doesn't have to deal with the atmosphere. Which, if we win, then there we go. I think most people are probably on the same, singing from the same hymn sheet now, that even if Norwich City were to win against Luton, it doesn't really change anything. And I think that's the worry at this stage. Is we've been here so many times with managers, and so have every other club in the footballing pyramid, that once a manager loses the fans, I think it's game over. It would take something nigh on impossible to turn this around at this stage. And that will be a worry for the big wigs at Norwich. That will be a worry for Dean Smith and Craig Shakespeare, and I think that will be a worry for the players as well. Luton, the opponents on Boxing Day, a side who have found a bit of sticky form themselves recently, haven't won in the last 3. Their last game that they were meant to play was postponed. Before that, 2-0 defeat to Stoke, 1-1 draw to Rotherham, and a 2-1 defeat to Middlesbrough, much like us, and Crook's last minute winner in that one. You may have seen in our BetMate teams earlier that we've gone fairly hot on Carlton Morris. He was the goal scorer in the last time we played Luton at Carrow Road. And that was the game where it felt like it really turned. A disappointing display against the Luton side that we should be beating. They were, I think, managed still by Nathan Jones at that point. He's since left to go to Premier League Southampton. Rob Edwards now the manager of Luton, who was at Watford. So it's all changed down there. But that was, I think, the moment where a lot of fans went, is this it? Is this what we have to put up with now? And that's been the real disappointment. And I think the reason I've stayed quite optimistic and not excited, that's going too far, but optimistic about the future under Dean Smith has been because I don't see the board sacking him. At least I didn't until the new year, and I still don't think he will be sacked prior to the new year. 2023 may throw up some different opportunities. But I didn't want to be really down on a manager that I knew would be here for the next couple of months. I wanted to remain upbeat, and I wanted to stay positive. And I think there have been small elements to kind of cling on hope to. But I think at this stage now, sadly, that hope has all but gone. And there has been a big enough sample size now to really look at and go, have things improved? No, they haven't. Have performances or results improved? No, they haven't. I think a big part of why we're still in the top 6 is down to how poor the rest of the league is. And look, you can only beat what's in front of you, but there have been so many teams this season as well that we should have put to bed and haven't. There are, of course, arguments to say, well, every team, if it was so easy, the Burnleys and the Sheffield Uniteds of the world should have won every game, and they haven't as well. Look, I get it. It's the Championship. It's unpredictable. I think the reason there have been frustrations from other fans and starting to be with me now is there's no apparent style of play, and I think football runs much deeper than just results now. You have to have an ethos, you have to have a style, you have to communicate with the fans, almost like Stuart Webber and Daniel Farke nailed at the start of that era. And that's what not just Norwich City fans, but football fans in general have come to expect now. So it's difficult for me to really preview this game in isolation, because I've said the same things over and over again. We've got the quality, we should be winning this game. I think there have been spells of goodness from the likes of Timi Pukki, the likes of Josh Sargent, even in the games that we haven't won in recent weeks. I think Isaac Hayden has developed into a really tidy midfielder for us. The defence, I think, is probably one of the most underperforming defences of the Championship season. On paper, I think they're one of the best. You've got Dimi Anulis or Sam McCallum, Max Aarons, Grant Hanley and Ben Gibson. That's a fairly formidable backline, and they've been exposed far too many times this season. That will be a real disappointment for Dean Smith, because there's certain things you can't account for, and I think some of the individual mistakes have been a real sore point for Norwich this season. What is there more to say? Look, Norwich City have to win, and I think even if Dean Smith were to be sacked or weren't to be sacked, the important thing at this stage is just staying in with a fighting chance of promotion. That's what we need. That's the end goal. We are still within a fighting chance of promotion. We're in the top 6. We're 9 points from the top 2. I think the top 2 dreams are probably gone at this stage. Dreams of the top 6 certainly haven't. And it's important that we don't lose sight of the end goal. And the end goal is still to be promoted from this division. I hope that it doesn't turn too toxic at Kenilworth Road. It's going to be an absolute nightmare for those trying to get there. It's 7:45. It's on Sky Sports, so I'd probably recommend just staying at home with a warm Bovril and maybe a tipple of Lakens if you're that way inclined. Staying warm and seeing how we get on. There's talent in this side. There is a lot of talent in this side, and you just hope that regardless of the situation off the pitch, that the players remain professional and Dean Smith fights until the very end. There we go. Enjoy your Christmas. I hope you all have a lovely time. Stay safe, look after each other, and hopefully I'll see you after 3 points. See you later, everyone. Bye-bye.